In today's video, I'm gonna be showing you how you can create an extremely smooth animation. So after you watch this video, you won't be able to recognize your own edits. Just take a look at what we're gonna be creating today. And the best part is when we're stitching it up together. So your transitions between animations are gonna get so much smoother after you watch the video. But before we begin, I just wanted to let you know that I'm upgrading Motion Essence. This is a product of mine that is going from 25 to 130 assets. This is an insane update. So here we got a few animations that will be included in the pack, and imagine how much time it will save you. All you need to do is just drag and drop, replace the text, and that's it. So what you want to do is go to the description below, click on the first link, and grab Motion Essence at the best price right now. Once you got Motion Essence in a few days, I'm gonna be updating the pack, so you're gonna get a free upgrade on email. So yeah, just get it before I double the price to $60 because it's a steal. That being said, we're gonna get straight into Adobe After Effects and let me show you how you can create very smooth edits. Alright, we're back in the software. Let me just show you the comp settings. Today we're gonna be working with a horizontal comp, which is 1920 by 1080. I'm gonna hit OK. And the first thing I wanted to say is that we got only two assets for today. One of them is Eminem, the GOAT, and the other one is Spotify. But for now, I'm gonna take care of the picture. So let's go ahead and grab the rounded rectangle tool, and we're just gonna create a mask out of his face. Just make sure that the corners are pretty rounded. You can do so by using the scroll wheel, and then I'm gonna double click the mask and adjust it a bit. Then we can recenter the layer, and I'm gonna scale it down. Right now we're ready to bring our Spotify, and I'm gonna drag it here and then scale it down as well. Now we need some sort of a background, so for this I'm gonna grab the rounded rectangle tool again, and we're just gonna create a shape around it. Now let's drop it below. We can recenter this as well, and this is our starting point. We can actually rename it to frame, and one thing I will take care of now is the background, so I'm gonna right click, go to new, and pick a new solid. So here we want to pick something like dark gray. Then I'm gonna hit OK, OK again, drop it below, and call it background. We don't really need to think about it right now, so for this I'm gonna lock it, and then I'm gonna use the shy icon and turn on the switch, so that way it's not gonna bother us. So this animation is gonna have three phases, three movements. So now we're gonna take care of the first one. So for this I'm gonna go to the frame, and I'm gonna keyframe size. Make sure that the constraint proportions is turned off. Then we're also gonna keyframe position for Eminem, and also we're gonna hit M and keyframe mask path. Then as for the Spotify, we're also gonna keyframe position, and now we can hit U for everything. Alright, so we got 4 keyframes. And now before we create any movement, let's head over to the modes, and we're just gonna make sure that the Spotify and Eminem have the track matte set to frame. Now make sure to bring back the visibility, and we're gonna take care of the movement. So Spotify is gonna go downwards, so I'm gonna drag Y position and it's gonna disappear. Then as for the frame, I'm just gonna bump up the X just like so, maybe like that, and we're gonna take care of the picture. We're gonna drag him to the left, and now we need to change the mask. So I'm gonna select that keyframe, make sure that the time indicator is somewhere here, and then we're just gonna adjust it a bit. So I'm gonna extend it as far as I can, then I'm gonna select these points, hit Ctrl T, extend it over here. Okay, here we can go pretty far. Then I'm gonna select these 4 points and drag it lower like that. Can we go further over here? Okay, something like that should do. It's not ideal, but now we're gonna take care of the position, and we're gonna do it like that. Okay, we might even wanna change Y over here, and let's see now. Alright, it's pretty cool. I'll probably extend X a bit and then adjust the position in this picture. Alright, something like that. And then maybe let's drag him a bit upwards. Before we add any graphs, what I'm gonna do is head over to the star tool, and with nothing selected, I'm just gonna create a shape. Now I'm still holding my mouse, and I'm gonna adjust with the scroll wheel. Just like so. We kind of want to have a star, so this is gonna be a verification. Now hold Control and push it out, just like so. And then I'm not gonna hold Control anymore, and I'm gonna scale it down. Okay, something like that should do. We can recenter. I'm gonna zoom in, and actually I'm gonna change the color to blue. Okay, let's find something that looks like verified. So I'm gonna hit OK. Then what I'm gonna do is rename it to check. And I'm gonna make sure that the layer is selected, hit G, and then we're gonna create a point over here, one on the bottom, and the other one over here. Now we're gonna turn off the fill, and we're gonna turn on the stroke. Make sure that the line cap is set to round, and also the line join. Now we can bump up the stroke width, something like that. I'm gonna double click it and move it so it's in the middle. Okay, it turned out actually a bit too thick, so I'm gonna adjust it. Let's do it like that. Okay, one more adjustment, should be perfect. Then we can scale it down, and I'm gonna drag it to the right corner, actually over here. Now I'm gonna bump up the scale, and here it should be perfect. Now I'm gonna hit U for everything, and I'm gonna set a keyframe for position in our check. Now that keyframe is gonna be aligned with the last ones, and then we're gonna bring it from the upper side. So that's what we have. And now make sure that the track matte over here in the check is set to frame. Alright, perfect. Now we're gonna select all the keyframes, hit F9 to easy ease, then go to the graph editor and make sure to create a peak in the middle. So just select all the points and drag them towards the middle. Alright, that starts to look really nice. Then I'm gonna close it down. And what we're gonna do is hit Ctrl T. I'm gonna type in artist. Actually, we can start off with a big letter. And you know what? Actually, I'm gonna turn on the caps. So now it's gonna be somewhere here. And I'm just thinking maybe we should turn on the small caps, but now we need to actually change that letter to a small one. Looks pretty minimalistic to me. So the next thing I'm gonna do is actually head over here to the properties, go to animate, and we're gonna pick position. Now in the X, I'm gonna change it to 50. Then I'm gonna go to add property and we're gonna pick opacity, and then I'm gonna change it to 0%. Now let's head over to the range selector. I'm gonna open up advanced and we're gonna change the square to ramp up. Now let's bump up the ease low, and we're also gonna head over to the offset and change it to -100%. Then we're gonna keyframe, move forward and change it to 100%. Alright, so that's what we have. We gotta check out the timing. And also we need to change the track matte to frame. Okay, that's pretty much perfect. Alright, so we got our first face, which is looking pretty cool already. And then what we need to do is copy all these keyframes, actually apart from the Spotify. So what we could do since it's gone is just trim the layer over here. So now what I'm gonna do is select that keyframe, then I'm gonna hold shift and I'm gonna select these as well. I'm gonna copy and paste, and from here we're gonna start another movement. Later on we're gonna squeeze it in to make it a bit faster. It's just to make it more clear. So I think we're gonna start off with the frame. So what I'm gonna do is just make it a bit wider, then I'm gonna adjust Y, probably went overboard over here. I'm gonna take the position in the check, then what we're gonna do is drag it to the right, and we wanna have it in the top right corner. Okay, now let's take care of the picture over here. So for this, we're gonna actually have to add one value, which is the scale. So I'm gonna go back with the playhead over here. I'm gonna hold shift, click S, and keyframe scale. Then we're gonna move over here, and we're gonna decrease it. Alright, really nice. Then we're gonna drag the position to the left, and we're also gonna adjust the mask path. So for this, I'm gonna select these corners, hit Ctrl T, or you can just double click them, and I'm gonna adjust it like that. We might even wanna make it a bit longer. Let me just see. Alright, okay, this might be actually a pretty cool look. So what we would need to do now is just scale it down even more. Okay, I've noticed a mistake over here. So for this, I'm gonna select these 4 points and drag them a bit higher. We might have the option to actually bump up these ones, actually put them a bit higher. Okay, that might be pretty cool. And then we just need to adjust it. Okay, let's find the sweet spot. Now we can play around with the scale. Okay, seems perfect to me. I'm gonna select all the keyframes over here and I'm gonna apply the mid graph. So you need to do the same thing as we did before. Okay, looks really nice, but I just got a feeling like it's a bit too wide. So for this, what I'm gonna do is adjust X, and then we need to adjust also the check and also Eminem picture. Right, let's see now. Yeah, that's better. This text is left, so what we need to do is basically copy these keyframes and paste them here. Now what I'm gonna do is right click, keyframe assistant, and time reverse keyframes. Okay, that's actually really nice. Let's call it text 1, and I'm gonna copy that layer, so we're gonna have text 2. Then I'm gonna hit U, select all the keyframes and move them somewhere here. Okay, but now I'm gonna turn it off. And what I'm gonna do is basically drag that text over here, and we just need to type in the number of monthly listeners, and that's 66 million. Right, so let's go for it. Just gonna do it like that, something random over here. And what I'm gonna do is probably change it to semi-bold, and then I'm gonna bump up the font size. All right, pretty cool. Probably went overboard because we need to squeeze monthly listeners in there. Then we can scale it down, and let's make sure it's in the middle. So this would be pretty cool to start the text whenever that one is disappearing. Okay, let's see that again. Okay, it can go more towards here, and I'm gonna delay it a bit. Alright, my inner perfectionist just noticed that it's a bit off over here. So what I'm gonna do is go to the Eminem picture. Let's select position, actually that keyframe over here, and we're just gonna drag it a bit higher. Did I go overboard? I don't know. Alright, screw that. Actually, you know what? This animation is not that requiring for the PC, so we can turn on the motion blur. Now we're gonna hit U for everything, and we're just gonna squeeze it in because we're gonna take care of another face and we need some space over here. So I'm just gonna drag it to the left, just like so. Okay, it's a bit faster over here. And then I'm gonna squeeze it in over here as well. You know what? Just so we can see more, I'm gonna extend that comp. And now let's create another movement. So we're just gonna start over here. I'm gonna bring it up, and we're just gonna copy all the keyframes as before. So essentially I'm just gonna copy all these and paste them over here. Okay, so here we start another movement, and now what I'm gonna do is basically change the frame size to something like that. Then I'm gonna extend it. Alright, now we need to bring Eminem somewhere here. Then what I'm gonna do is take care of the mask path. So I'm just gonna select 4 points over here, then drag them to the right. Now I'm gonna actually adjust it, and then what I'm gonna do is select bottom points and drag them like that. Then we're also gonna do the same over here. All right, not bad, not bad. But what we're gonna do is just bump up the scale. Okay, something like that should do. Then we need some adjustments, so the position is gonna go to the left, and we might even want to adjust the size in the frame. So I'm just gonna squeeze it in and make it a bit higher. Okay, I can tell that we're a bit off. So another adjustment for position and for size. All right, that's what we have. Doesn't look that good, but don't worry, we're gonna apply the same graph and it's gonna look sweet. So the next thing I'm gonna do is take care of the check. So we're just gonna throw it away to the right. So let's adjust the X position, and this should be fine. Now we can select everything and apply the mid graph. And this is really, really nice. I feel like we could squeeze it in for a faster movement. Might have went overboard. And then what I'm gonna do here is create another shape. So I'm gonna head over to the round rectangle tool. I'm gonna make sure nothing is selected, and we're just gonna try to make such a shape. So it's in the exact same size as a minimum picture. But also, we're gonna need to squeeze 3 of them over here. So make sure that Y is adjusted. Okay, we're gonna turn off the stroke, we're gonna turn on the solid, and we might actually apply kind of a bright gray. Maybe something like that. Looks pretty cool actually. Okay, one adjustment for the X and also for the roundness. So it's kind of the same like over here. I'm actually gonna bump up the Y because I feel like we got enough space for 3 of them over here. Okay, so this is gonna be 1, then 2 and 3. Okay, I'm gonna decrease it just a bit. Okay, I'm gonna rename it to frame BG or whatever. Then what I'm gonna do is just pre-compose that layer, and we're gonna take care of it separately. Okay, so I'm gonna go into that comp, and here we're gonna type in the most popular hits of Eminem. So one of them is Without Me. Damn it, I can type. Okay, then we're gonna adjust it. I'm gonna probably scale it down a bit. Okay, and then on Spotify you got E-letter over here that is kind of with a square background, and it stands for explicit. So we're just gonna recreate it. So I'm gonna grab the rounded rectangle and let's do it like that. Then I'm gonna recenter, and we can adjust the roundness. We can really see that because it's in the same color, so we're just gonna turn it into white. Actually, we're gonna recenter it, and I'm gonna type in E. Actually, a capital letter E. Then we can also adjust the color. And let's recenter. Right, so that's what you should have. I'm gonna rename it to EBG, so E background, and then I'm gonna pre-compose these 2 layers. And let's call it E. Okay, so this is gonna be somewhere here. And I actually forgot that I prepared something else, which are the pictures of the covers of albums actually. So I'm gonna scale it down just like so. And what we could do is go to the round rectangle tool, and with that layer selected, I'm gonna double click it. Actually, that's not enough, so I'm gonna do it manually. So I'm just gonna select these, and I'm gonna adjust it with the scroll wheel. Okay, then we can scale it down even more. And let's just put it somewhere here. Okay, something like that should do. Then what I'm gonna do is just select these 2 and drag them to the right. Little adjustment for the minimalistic style. And I think I'm good with this. Let's see how it looks on the main animation. Pretty cool. So I'm gonna call it hit 1. Then what I'm gonna do is hit Ctrl C and Ctrl V and Ctrl V again. So as for the second one, all we need to do is just replace the text, lose yourself. I'm gonna adjust it a bit, and then we need to change the picture. So I got it over here. So I'm just gonna drop it on the timeline, and we definitely need to scale it down. And what I'm gonna do is do the same procedure. So with the round rectangle, I'm just gonna adjust it like that. All right, now let's make sure that it's in the exact same size as our thumbnail over here. Okay, pretty cool. We can delete this one here, and then I'm gonna head over to hit 3, and I'm gonna take Mockingbird. All right, so we gotta adjust the mask. I messed it up a bit, so I'm gonna bring it higher, and then we should be good. Okay, deleting this one and changing the text over here. Let's drag it a bit towards the right, details matter, and let's see how it looks over there. Okay, so we got hit 1. We need to bring 2 and 3 on the timeline, and let's just figure it out. Okay, number 3 is gonna be here. I think I did a pretty good job with the estimation. We're just gonna bring it a bit higher. All right, should be perfect. Actually, I'm gonna use the arrow keys for the middle one. Okay, but we also need to add some movement to this. So for this, I'm gonna turn off the visibility for 2 and 3, and I'm gonna head over to the position in our hit 1, then keyframe, move backwards, and we're just gonna drag it somewhere here. So it's kind of coming together with the Eminem picture to the middle. Okay, so that's how it's looking. And we would probably want to add opacity keyframes over here. Alright, then I'm gonna select these 2, apply easy ease, go to the graph editor, and let's just create a peak on the left. Alright, we definitely need to work on the timing. And actually we need to change the track matte in all 3 hits. So we're just gonna do it like that and select frame. Alright, pretty good. Let me just adjust it. I think the movement is quite alright, but the next thing we need to do is bring back our layers, and we're just gonna copy position and opacity and we're gonna paste them over here. So that way we got all layers in the same position. But now if I hit P and I have the playback on one of the keyframes, then select, let's say, that set of keyframes and drag it a bit lower. This is gonna be perfect. And we're gonna do the same with this one. Okay, pretty cool, let's see. Alright, we got it. Then also I'm gonna easy use the keyframes for opacity, and I'm gonna offset each set of keyframes, just like so. Let's see. Okay, we need to adjust it. I'll probably just make it a bit sharper so we can squeeze it in. Yeah, nice. Then also we need the motion blur over here, and that's even better. Let's see all the keyframes that we got over here. So that's how it's looking. And now something we need to do is also adjust the text too. So here we have the fade out keyframes, so we're just gonna grab them over here. Okay, that's too late. Yeah, perfect. Okay, so now we can take all these keyframes over here, make sure you got everything selected, and then we're just gonna squeeze it in. Perfecto. It looks really nice, but obviously we need more extra touches. So what I'm gonna do is right click, go to new object, and I'm gonna rename it to controller. So here I would like to select everything we got on the timeline and then parent it to our controller. Now what you're gonna do is hit P for the controller, then alt click the stopwatch, and you're gonna paste the expression that I left for you in the comment. We're also gonna do the same thing for rotation, so I'm gonna hold shift click R, then alt click the stopwatch and paste the same expression. And now with that controller, we're gonna be able to add a subtle flick. So first we're gonna set a keyframe for position, and we're just gonna make sure that we got that keyframe over here when the movement starts. Okay, this should be perfect. Then I'm gonna drag it a bit lower. You see that movement, that extra flick makes a whole lot of difference. And then on top of that, we're gonna add rotation. So I'm gonna set a keyframe, then I'm gonna drag it probably somewhere here. Here we're gonna set it to a negative number, like -5. Then I'm gonna move forward and I'm gonna set it back to 0. Okay. You gotta find the right timing over here. I think I really like that rotation. Just thinking maybe the positive number. You decide what's better. I feel like going to the negative number is better because the Eminem picture is kind of sliding down, like down the slope. Yeah, I think I'm gonna leave it like that. I'm just thinking if the flick is not too strong, I'm thinking about extending it. Yeah, that's smoother. So you get the final result. Hopefully your UI animations will be so much smoother now. So with that being said, we're gonna wrap it up here and make sure to check out that video. Cheers guys.